The first prediction for today's NBA games is for the game between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Charlotte Hornets. Whenever I look at this Clippers Hornets matchup, the first thing that hits me is how wild this season has been for both of these teams. I mean, I'm watching two squads that came into the year expecting completely different stories, and yet here we are, deep in the schedule, and they're both stuck in the same mud. But from where I'm standing, this game in Charlotte feels like one of those spots where I can't help but lean into the energy the home team brings. Let's start with the Clippers. I've followed this league for decades, and I've seen slumps, rebuilds, collapses, everything. But what the Clippers are showing right now is a team that's still searching for an identity. They've got James Harden doing everything he can to drag this offense forward, but he just doesn't have enough help. Their shooting looks disconnected, their defense is late on rotations, and the whole rhythm feels heavy. When a team is constantly playing from behind, constantly relying on one or two players to keep them afloat, that usually tells me their system isn't clicking the way it should. On top of that, the road has been cruel to them. One road wins all year. I've watched too many games like this over the years not to recognize the pattern. When a team struggles to travel, it isn't just fatigue. It's confidence, it's rhythm, it's chemistry, and the Clippers just haven't shown any of that. Their body language has been rough, and when they hit a bad stretch, they don't pull themselves out of it quickly. Now, the Hornets aren't exactly lighting the league on fire, but playing in Charlotte matters. This building gives them a little spark, and I can see it early in games. The way Miles Bridges attacks off the dribble, the way LaMelo Ball pushes the tempo and tries to break open the defense with those early passes. And lately, Con Newpol has been playing with a confidence that really jumps off the floor. Charlotte's problem has been consistency, not talent. But here's the thing I've learned over 30 years of watching the NBA. Some games come down to who plays harder, who plays freer, and who treats the moment like an opportunity instead of a burden. The Hornets, even with all their flaws, play with a lighter step at home. They crash the boards, they run the floor, and they get hot in stretches where they swing momentum faster than people expect. What pushes me over the edge in this matchup is the state of the Clippers roster. Missing key guys, forcing Harden to be the engine, the brakes, and the steering wheel, it adds up. And a team that's already struggling mentally doesn't magically tighten up on the road against a group that loves to push pace and test tired legs. I've seen too many games like this end with the home team outworking a more talented opponent that just doesn't have its equilibrium. So for me, the spot is clear. I'm rolling with the side that plays looser at home, the side that creates more pressure naturally, and the side that's being overlooked because of their record rather than their matchup. My prediction is simple. I'm taking the Hornets to cover the 3-point spread against the Clippers. Today's second prediction is for the game between the Atlanta Hawks and New Orleans Pelicans. We are in New Orleans on a Saturday night, Hawks rolling into the Smoothie King Center to take on a Pelicans team that has been living in the basement of the West. On paper, it looks like a simple spot. Hawks with a winning record, Pelicans buried near the bottom, and coming off another tough loss to Dallas on the second night of a back-to-back. But when I really dig into the matchup, the numbers, and the situational angles, I do not think this is as automatic as it looks for Atlanta. Let me start with the Hawks. They quietly turned their season around after a rough opening stretch. They have stacked wins lately and have been money on the road, picking up 7 wins away from home already and covering plenty of spreads against teams with losing records. What I really like about this Atlanta group is how they have responded without Trae Young. With him out, the ball is moving. The defense is more locked in on the perimeter, and guys like Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker have stepped into bigger roles. Johnson is playing like a do-it-all forward, crashing the glass, pushing in transition, and guarding multiple positions. Alexander-Walker just dropped a huge scoring night, bombing from deep and showing that he can carry the offense for stretches. This team shares the ball at an elite level, living near the top of the league in assists, and they have enough depth that you never quite know which Hawk is going to pop for 20+ on any given night. That makes them a nightmare to scout, especially for a defense that has been struggling. Now, the Pelicans. I know, the record is ugly, the losing streak is real, and the defense has been a disaster. They have given up a ton of points. They are near the bottom of the league in blocks, and they just changed coaches, which is never a sign that everything is fine. But if I look a little deeper, I see a team that is at least starting to show some signs of life. They just went toe-to-toe with Dallas, built a double-digit lead, and were still ahead in the final 2 minutes before they let it slip away. Trey Murphy has been hooping. Zion Williamson is back on the floor, putting up over 20 a night on efficient shooting, and some of the younger guys are stepping in and producing. Offensively, they still have enough firepower to make runs, even if the defense has not caught up yet. The key angle for me is the spot. New Orleans is at home, they are catching a big number, and they have actually been sneaky good against the spread in this exact situation. As home underdogs playing with a rest disadvantage, they have been covering far more often than people realize. On the flip side, Atlanta has not been automatic when laying a big number. They have failed to cover several times as decent-sized favorites, especially after a loss, and that tells me the market can be a little too optimistic with their pricing. I also have to factor in the wear and tear on the Hawks. They just played a high-scoring game against San Antonio, where they had to dig out of a big hole and still got beaten. The defense that has been their calling card lately did not show up there, and if that leaky version of Atlanta's defense travels to New Orleans, the Pelicans have enough scoring to hang around inside the spread. So when I put it all together, here is how I see it. The Hawks are the better, more stable team right now, and I would not be shocked if they sneak out of New Orleans with a win. But this number feels inflated. The Pelicans are desperate. They are at home, they are starting to compete a little harder, and the trends say they fight as home underdogs, especially on the back end of a back-to-back. My prediction is that the Hawks probably edge this one out on the scoreboard, but I am taking the Pelicans to cover the 8.5 points. I am riding with New Orleans plus the points to keep this game much tighter than the line suggests. The third prediction for today is for the game between the Detroit Pistons and Milwaukee Bucks. I've been watching this Detroit team closely all month, and I've got to say, what they're doing right now has that real contender feel. Every time they hit the floor, they look sharper, more confident, and more connected than the night before. When a group strings together this many wins and keeps the same edge from one game to the next, that tells me they're buying into their identity. And Detroit's identity this season is straight-up physical, disciplined, and relentless basketball. They've turned defense into a weapon. They pressure the ball without gambling, they close space quickly, and they force teams into ugly, uncomfortable possessions. I've seen plenty of teams overperform early in a season, but this Pistons group is different. Their defense travels, and their rim protection and rotations are built to hold up even on a hostile floor like Milwaukee's. And when they get stopped, they run their stuff with purpose. Cade Cunningham is playing like a floor general who finally realized he owns the keys to the whole franchise. His pace is elite, his reads are surgical, and the way he manipulates defenses right now tells me he's seeing the game 2 steps ahead of everyone else. Then you add Jalen Duren, who's punishing teams inside every single night, sealing harder than most figs in the league, and finishing everything around the rim. His motor is just different. A player like him gives you second chance buckets, vertical gravity, and a security blanket when the offense stalls. Those details matter in tight road games, and Detroit has been winning those battles all season long. Meanwhile, the Bucks are limping into this matchup without Giannis, and every time I watch them play without him, I feel like I'm looking at a team searching for an identity. I'll give Ryan Rollins credit. The guy is hooping with confidence, but he shouldn't have to carry this much scoring responsibility. Without Giannis, Milwaukee loses that interior pressure that collapses defenses and opens clean looks for everyone else. Their offense becomes jump shot heavy, their pace slows down, and their margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. Defensively, they just don't have the teeth they used to. Teams get comfortable early, and once that happens against a Detroit squad that loves to attack mismatches, it snowballs fast. The Pistons beat you possession by possession. They don't need a big run to take control. They just keep applying pressure until you crack. When I combine Detroit's momentum, the matchup advantages on both ends, and Milwaukee's inability to close strong without their superstar, I just can't talk myself into the Bucks being able to keep pace for 48 minutes. The situational angles point to Detroit, the basketball fit points to Detroit, and the eyeball test absolutely points to Detroit. So for me, this one isn't complicated. I'm riding with the hotter, healthier, hungrier squad, the team that's been cashing tickets and playing the most complete basketball in the East. My prediction is the Pistons to win and cover the 6.5-point spread. Today's last prediction is for the game between the Sacramento Kings and the Denver Nuggets. When I look at this matchup tonight, I see two teams living in completely different universes, but basketball isn't always about who's better on paper. It's about where the value lies, and for me, that's where this game gets interesting. Let me start with Sacramento. I know, the Kings have been stumbling through the schedule like every road trip is a mountain climb. They've been punched in the mouth more than once on this road stretch, and that last loss to Memphis. I mean, when you get run out of the building like that, you don't hide from it. You regroup, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you respond. And this is exactly the kind of game where a team that's been embarrassed suddenly comes out swinging. This group still has guys who can fill it up. Zach LaVine has been one of the few bright sparks lately, and when he gets downhill, he can change the rhythm of a game real quick. DeRozan hasn't looked like himself these past few outings, but he's one of those vets who can flip a switch at any moment. And Westbrook, even when the shots aren't falling, still brings tempo, energy, and pressure on the rim. The real issue for Sacramento is simple. They've been playing without Sabonis, and losing a player who anchors everything from the elbow to the glass leaves a gap you can't magically patch up. But the beauty of the NBA is that teams don't stay cold forever. And when a squad gets hit as hard as the Kings just did, there's usually a bounce-back effort coming. Now let's shift to Denver. They're rolling. They're confident. And with Jokic putting up video game numbers again, the Nuggets feel like they can walk into any gym and impose their style. The guy controls pace like a point guard, but bruises you inside like a classic vig. Murray returning in form gives Denver that extra punch, and their supporting cast always seems to step up when the lights get brighter. But Denver is also walking into this one on tired legs. The second night of a back-to-back at altitude is a different kind of grind, and missing guys like Gordon only stretches their rotation even thinner. Sure, they've handled Sacramento twice already this season, and yes, most people expect another comfortable win because the Nuggets at home are usually a safe bet. But I don't look at this game from the who wins perspective, I look at it from the who covers. And that's where the line feels inflated. 12 points are big. That's not just we beat you, that's we dominated you for 48 minutes. And while Denver is capable of doing that to anybody, this is a situational spot that screams value, a hungry underdog, embarrassed, with everyone counting them out, going up against a favorite on tired legs after a physical road battle. When teams are this far apart in perception, the spread usually tells the story, and this one is telling me to pay attention. I'm expecting Sacramento to come out with some urgency. I'm expecting them to push the pace, attack space, and force Denver's thinner rotation to defend for long stretches. I don't need the Kings to win this game, I just need them to compete, and with this number, competing might be all it takes. My money is on the Kings to keep it close enough to cash. My prediction: I'm playing the Kings to cover the 12-point spread.